Hello mathematicians. Today we're going to be watching a video about multiplying by powers of 10. So get your pencils and your paper ready and let's take some great notes. Here we go. How many hundreds are in the number 3,200? Here we see 3,000. These are 1,000 blocks, and 200. That's what we're going to be discussing in the video today. In this lesson, you will learn about the relationship between digits on a place value chart by multiplying by powers of 10. Let's review really quick. The ones is worth 1 block. That's how we represent those. If we multiply those times 10 or take 10 of those, we move it up to a tens tower. If we take 10 of those and multiply them, we will end up with a hundreds board. If we take 10 of the hundreds board and multiply it, we would come up with 1,000 block. A common mistake that's made sometimes is getting confused when visualizing numbers that are bigger than 1,000, and that's an easy mistake to make, so we're going to try to remember that as we work these problems today. For example, how to use base 10 blocks to represent 100,000. That's a very large number. In your mind, you have to try to picture how many base 10 blocks it would take when you're visualizing it in your mind. The core lesson today, we're going to investigate powers of 10. If we have, for instance, the number 4, and we represent it with 4 blocks, and we multiply those 4 blocks times 10, we now have 40 blocks, because each row is going to have 10 in it, so 4 times 10 is 40. If we take those and multiply those times 10, we're going to end up with 400 blocks. If I could stretch this out just a little bit more. So you can see the 400, so now we have 400 blocks. So each time we just multiplied times 10. In the core lesson, we're going to take the number 24 and multiply it times 10. So if I show you 24 blocks and I do that 10 times, I would have to draw those 10 different times. We would see what our total is when we add all of these up. And it's going to total, does anyone know? Very good, 240. So I would put all my tens blocks together, and that would make 200s, and then I would have 4 tens left over, so I have 240. These are the same numbers, they're just represented 2 different ways. If we have a place value chart and we take the number 24 and we multiply that number times 10, all we're doing is moving it up one place and adding a 0 to the end of it. So now we have 240. So if we take the 24, there's our 0 on the end. If we take our 24 and multiply it times 100, this time 100 has 2 zeros. So I'm just going to have to move my 24 up 2 places and add 2 zeros, which gives me 2,400. Same thing with 24 times 1,000. I have 3 zeros, so I have to move my 24 up 3 places. 1, 2, 3. Add my 3 zeros. 240,000. Also in the core lesson, how many tens are in the number 4,000? Let's put it in a place value chart. We're going to figure out how many tens are in 4,000. So find the tens place right there. Very good. We need to see how many tens it takes to make this number 4,000 down here at the bottom. If we go to the tens place, you will notice that it takes 400 of those tens to make 4,000. I didn't ask you how many ones. I said how many tens does it take. So you look at the tens place and you stop there and then look how many's in front of it. 400. So 400 times 10 would give me 4,000. So how many tens are in 4,000? 400. Great job. How many hundreds are in 3,200? Let's put it in a place value chart. And let's find the hundreds place. We're going to figure out how many hundreds are in 3,200. So there's our hundreds place. The number 3,200 is right here on this row. And it would take how many? 32. Remember, we're going to stop in the hundreds place because that's the number we're looking for. It takes 32 hundreds to make 3,200. 32 times 100 gives me 3,000, or equal to 3,200. Great job. How much larger is 3,200 than 32? Let's look at our place value chart. If I have the number 3,200, which is right here, and I have the number 32, I take my 32 and I'm going to have to move it up to this position up here, which is 3,200. Now if you will notice, it went from tens to hundreds up to thousands. So first I jumped from tens to hundreds, which means I had to multiply times 10, and then I jumped from hundreds to thousands, which means I had to multiply times another 10. So 10 times 10 would give me 100. Very good. In this lesson, you've learned about the relationship between digits on a place value chart by multiplying by powers of 10. Every time we move up one to the next place to the left, we're going to multiply times 10. Some guided practice. Write 35,550 on this place value chart. So take your pencil and fill in those numbers, please. And then answer the question. How much larger is the 5 in the thousands place than the 5 in the tens place? So when we fill this in, you should have written 35,550, and it's wanting to know how much larger is the 5 in the thousands place than the 5 in the tens place. Here's my thousands. Here's my tens, so I jumped up one time, that would be times 10, another time, times 10, and we know 10 times 10 is how much? 100. So it is 100 times larger. Great job. You're doing wonderful on this. Okay, let's do an extension activity. It says in your math journal, but I just want you to do it on this paper, please. Explain how 55,000 is different than 55. In other words, how much larger is 55,000 than 55? I would like for you to pause the video and answer that question, and then you're going to get the key out in just a few minutes and see if you got it correct. So answer this question, and then you can come back to the video. We've got one more page we're going to do, and then you'll be ready to check your answers. Alright, for a quick quiz, how many tens are in 7,800? Please pause the video and answer that question. In the number 24,143, how is the 4 in the thousands place different than the 4 in the tens place? Please pause the video and answer your question on here. And when you get your key out, you can check it and see if you are correct. All right, you're ready to practice some problems on your own. I think you're going to do a great job. See you next time.